Okay, good morning to everybody, all you roboticists out there. This is Robin Williamson here for Scuola di Robotica in Genoa, Italy. And I've been joined today, I've had the honor of being joined by Simi Wang from Canaan Robotics and also Luca Talevi from Vibre here in Italy. And guys, first and foremost, many thanks for joining us today. It's great that you could find the time and we're looking forward to hearing from you. So tell me, first thing, for our audience here in in the Scuola di Robotica, the robotics school, could you present your companies, please? We can start with Simi, ladies first. Tell us about Keenon.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Simi from Canaan Robotics. Our company based in Shanghai, and we are a robotic company focused on indoor delivery robots and disinfection robots. So we have been founded in 2010. So we're not a startup anymore. We are growing quite fast these days. Yeah, and because of COVID-19, and we happen to be able to contribute our solutions to the whole world. So currently we are building a lot of contactless restaurants in all over Asia. And also our disinfection robot are helping the business to reopen for disinfection. And they are now actually in the airport. So the disinfection robot, they are disinfecting in the airport, and therefore the passengers, they have more confidence to travel. Yeah.
Very good. So your company is helping immensely in getting everybody back to work with sanitizing and reducing the risk for the general public. This is great. This is great. Okay, thank you. And over to you, Luca. Tell us about Vibre, please.
Yes, actually, I'm here talking as Holosap representative. But it's actually good to start talking about Vibre because Holosap exists because of a problem Vibre encountered. Vibre makes neural interfaces for business, and we encountered the major problem of not a technological problem, but an implementation and acceptance problem from people using them. And actually, acceptance of technologies and also social practices is one of the main problems of the COVID pandemic actually. Because you can spend everything you want on technologies and the vaccines and everything, but if people don't do that, you don't learn anything and risk stays high. So actually Holosap exists because we know technologies as robots by Keenon can and do improve risk actually in airports, in retail, in every workplace existing, but they need to be accepted. So Holosap exists because we want to acquire technologies which improve quality of life in workplaces and actually use a more human, empathic approach to make them accepted and actually implemented. And of course, these improve both businesses producing technologies and businesses implementing them.
Okay, thank you, Luca. And have you seen a big increase in your business as a result of COVID?
Of course, it's a big improvement in business. Actually, also in the neural interface business, because in the more human side, people are burning out in many smart working places. So it's easier to make it accepted because mind is suddenly something important. And also the human side, the human factor is becoming important. And that's also because the why Holosap exists. And so everything is actually improving.
Okay, thank you. Now, for Simi, I have a question. Canaan Robotics develops and manufactures robots for the end user market. Can you tell us what problems you encounter in China when you're presenting service robots to a non-expert audience?
Yeah. So we will say the main problem we face is the people's concern about replacing jobs, because we've talked to about a lot of people and they were like, "Oh, we love our employees." And I'm like, for sure, we also love our employees. So actually the main idea of the robot is not like replacing human. We will say they are more like a tool. So for example, like the vacuum cleaner robot before, when we apply the vacuum cleaner robot, and people are like, who are they? Like, is it useful? And will they take away something from us? Because always something new is always like frightening sometimes, you know? Yeah, but to be honest, our robot, it doesn't replace the human. What it does is it replaces the boring part of the job, and it bring more fun to people. So our robot, it doesn't really, it's not super interactive, but it deliver the dish. They are always punctual, and they do what we order them to do. So the robot, they deliver a dish to the tables. Therefore, the waiters, they can actually stay in the front area and talk to the customer more. So we find out after deploying our robots and more restaurant, the employees in the restaurant, they're actually getting more happier. And because therefore they attract more customer, so they actually didn't fire anybody. In the reversely, they hire more people. So yeah, to be honest, in the beginning it's always hard to try, because we have to persuade them like, oh, let's give it a try. But after they start to get used to it, and they start to feel the difference, and yeah, we feel it's much more easier, but it always take time because it's a new stuff.
Okay, so initially people are reluctant because they fear for their job security, and then when they see how the robot works, interacts, they realize that the robot effectively enhances and improves the working environment, particularly, for example, in a restaurant where the waiters can spend more time interfacing, liaising with the customers, with the diners, and at the end of the day, everybody's happier, which is good. Luca, do you find a similar issue with people being reluctant to accept this new form of neurotech? Yeah.
Of course. You don't know much. You know, actually, our main business is Neurotech, okay, just because it's easier for me to talk about what I've been doing for years. And we're actually using them in racing teams, motorsport, you know, high performance athletes. It's easier for them to accept it because they are more afraid of failure than they are of neurotechnologies. You know, it's easier for them to accept it. The point is, actually, we are starting to deploy them also to engineering teams, knowledge workers. They are less afraid of failing because they are many. So it's easier to, you know, diffuse responsibility. And so it took a bit longer, but COVID pandemics, they actually started to burn out, and they started to think about measuring their brains as a way to actually stay better, feel better. So at the end of the day, also for robots, you have to feel better with the technology to actually accept it. Actually, to feel it doesn't change your mind to know that your performance will improve. Not only a little bit. The point is feeling better. And that's why also what Simi actually told us right now, it worked because everyone felt better at the end of the day. Also performance increased, but it was, you know, it was a cooperation of factors. And the main one is feeling.
Okay. So the primary concern is to develop a feeling between the user and the robot, and improve this and get a good cooperation going, ultimately leading to much better performance, which is again what everybody's looking for. Yeah. Very good. Okay, back to Simi. I've got a question. Now, one robot that Canaan Robotics manufactures is a guide robot. And what difference for our audience is there between a guide robot with humanoid features and what could be a simple tablet mounted on wheels?
Yeah, so the robot is actually navigated by the tech and laser. We have both versions of the robot available. Mm-hmm. So on the bottom of the robot, it have a lot of sensors, like for example, infrared sensors and LiDAR sensors and SLAM sensors and obstacle avoidance sensors. So to be honest, when a place deploy a robot, safety is always their main concern.
Sure.
Especially we mostly work with big brands, for example, Alibaba, and we are also working with the biggest delivery platform in Korea and China. So when these big brands, they look for solution, of course, security is their main concern. So for the wheel, the button we apply, we actually have a different wheel, like the main wheel and the side wheel. And in total, it's around 10-ish wheel, depends on the different types of robot. Yeah, but the main thing is that to ensure the safety, we have the bumping stripe. And also, even if anything is broken, for example, one LiDAR sensor is broken, but we still have, for example, 80 other sensors functioning. Yeah, so this is why, yeah, I would say the obstacle avoidance of the robot and the navigation part is actually our main selling point. That is also differentiate us from any other robot in the market, because to navigate in a complicated environment like restaurant, the navigation, the smoothly of the navigation is always the main part. In the past year, why delivery robot they are not popular is because they actually become a burden of the restaurant after they deploy them, because the robots are always stuck, or the robot always have issue, and they have extra person to deal with the robot issue. But what pain point we are targeting at is that you don't have to take care of the robot. It helps you with make your life better, make the whole functionality operation of the restaurant more smoothly. Yeah, so yeah, you really mentioned a really key point about the wheel and navigation. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, is there any other part you would like me to add?
Yeah, one of the questions that I'd like to ask is just for both of you, can you give us some other cases of interesting uses of your robots?
Interesting uses. I would like to hear about one cafe restaurant in Korea. So they actually combine our robot with the coffee making machine. So the robot will automatically go when somebody order a coffee, and the coffee robot will start to make the coffee. And our delivery robot, because they are connected, they adapt our SDK with the coffee robot. So the robot our delivery robot will go to the coffee there, and a coffee making robot, and the robot will put the coffee on the delivery robot and deliver it to the customer. So the whole process is unmanned. It's quite cool because the restaurant doesn't have any human. It's just yeah, robots cooperating. It's actually kind of interesting. It's like a theme park or sci-fi stuff.
I can imagine a big novelty, a very big novelty. Very good. Okay, what about you, Luca?
Actually, we've been talking recently with retails, one of the biggest electronics retail in Italy, and they wanted to like deploy a big fleet of robots and show them all day long in all, I don't know, the store area. I missed the English word now.
Shop floor.
Yeah. And we actually advise that would scare people. If you just deploy a fleet of, they wanted 20 robots, like in a single shop. I don't know why. Actually, they thought that maybe showing everything, showing so many robots actually would help people. I'm not actually discussing an implementation case because we are still discussing about it. But it was quite difficult to actually convince them that maybe it was better to just take a small amount of robots and let them run in, actually off business hour, and just showing them that they are there while customers are actually traveling around in the shop. And the way we convince them, when you see soldiers, so you are in a big, I don't know, in a plaza, in a
big square.
In a square. Yeah, sorry if I miss English words sometimes.
Okay.
In a square, there are soldiers. Do you feel safer if soldiers are all over the place, or if they are in a corner, just surveilling the area? Okay. If they are all over the place, you don't feel safer. You feel in a dystopia. Okay. If they are in a corner, they are doing their job some way. They are surveilling the area. So we actually managed to convince the retail owner to actually think about placing robots near the entrance, doing their job surveilling the area, and making them actually run all over the place out of business. It's not interesting as serving coffee, but it's the coolest thing ever. Actually, a robot serving coffee. Italians and coffee are like, but it's one of the most interesting cases in which the person I've been talking to actually didn't know how to make the technology accepted, and it's an interesting case. So I don't know, maybe it's not interesting for you, but for me.
No. These are all very interesting cases. These are all very interesting cases. Now, last question for today. Now, are there any aspects of robo ethics touched by your robots? Now, problems, for example, of privacy, because this is one of the hot topics, which we don't have any more privacy, but what can you tell me about these issues of robo ethics?
For us, for Keenon, I would say mostly the ethic is for just like we mentioned before, the hiring or not hiring, and for privacy, like for example, information issue is not really what our main concern, because I mean for sure everybody currently for a product from China, like privacy is the main issue. But for our robot, it's not like interactive. It's more like functional robot. So all the data the robot will collect are delivery data. They are interactive, but they are not like smartly interactive. They use the voice clip to tell people like welcome, and this is your meal, how is your day? Yeah. So we don't collect the conversation data. So this also have been asked for all of our customers, like, is your robot safe? We're like, yeah, sure, because it just collect the delivery data. So, but for some restaurant, for example, it can also be important for them, because the delivery data actually means how many meals they have served every day, and how busy their restaurant is, and in different time period. So we will say for a restaurant itself is quite important to keep it private, because of course it's a valuable data, is always valuable in every cases. Yeah, but for the information safety is another case, and we don't think our robot have this kind of issue. Yeah.
This is good. What about you, Luca? Any issues regarding privacy or robo ethics?
Actually, Holosap deals with many technologies, integrating them. So yeah, GDPR in Europe and everything data related is quite an issue. There are so many. I don't know what to actually tell you. Regarding robots, we're starting now to actually discussing about implementing robots with our customers. So I still haven't encountered particular robo ethics issues. The only thing maybe I could tell you that is a point that I think it's important to actually consider is the fact that ethics, from a technological point of view, they are quite standard. It's easy to talk about data privacy, data ethics. It's not easy, but it's easier to actually consider the ethics of the people using the robots, the human ethics. It's really difficult also because they change wildly between cultures. And this is something Italians actually experience on a daily basis. We are very different city from city. There are cultures extremely different in Italy. So we've been discussing with customers, raising completely different human ethics problems. Just to cite what I told you before, and also I'm correcting a mistake I did before. I didn't actually clarify those robots were disinfection robots. That's why they needed to actually run off business, because there would be no usefulness, like in the restaurant case, why running them off business, off business hours. They had to run out of business hours because disinfection robots with the customer we've been dealing with, they needed to look as unhuman as possible. They needed to look just safe, not human-like, not empathic, just safe disinfection soldiers, automated stuff that goes around and clean everything. And at the same time, they needed to just show the fact that the robots were there. So there was like this collision of what they thought a robot should look like and what they actually wanted to do with that robot that collided with the ethics of their customers. So, you know, it's all a human problem at the end of the day, I think.
Okay.
I agree part of the point Luca says, that the one how you deploy the robot is actually the main reason that define the influence of the robot. It's always not like the solution itself, like if it's ethical or not. On the other hand, is how you deploy this, how you use it, because of course one tool, it can always have a positive effect and negative effect. Yeah, so and for our company, we were more like, because we produce functional robots, so we see robot more like a machine instead of, more like a tool instead of some human, because anyway, the robot in our company, they are not interactive that much. So we will more, we will say it's more like a tool instead of something that we have to compete with. We create a robot to make our life more easier and to make humans. So that is the reason why robot exists. They are not exist because they want to fight against human. Because why we produce something that to produce something to be against us, like it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So yeah, I will say the main point is that always remember why we deploy this function, because why robotics comes now, because we want our life to be more easier, everything be more faster in this world. Yeah. So yeah, that's, I think the ethical point is really depends on human, not the tool itself. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. So summing up, we can say that basically in the deployment of the multitude of different robots that we have, we need to be very careful in how we deploy, and also we need to take account of the sensitivities of the end users in such a way that they accept the robots willingly, and that they are not reluctant to accept a robot which effectively is going to improve the quality of their life rather than create a threat to their job security. So it's a work in progress. I think that, you know, we've already started. We're on the right track. It's going to take a little bit of time to get more and more people to understand this, but it's definitely on the right track, and it's only a question of time before we see more and more of these robots in our streets, in the shops, offices, restaurants, everywhere we go. So yeah, but thank you both very much for that, both Simi and Luca. It's been really good to speak to you today, and I'm sure all of our audience will be extremely interested to see this interview. So once again, thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedules today. And I wish you all the best for the future, and I look forward to speaking with you again sometime in the near future.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you a lot.
I hope that.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
Have a good day.